What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Hanson, and today we're taking a in-depth look at Ground Branch. With the game continuing to build up steam, there's a lot of new players, and some people are looking for a little bit of a boost, a little bit of a help into learning the ins and outs, because the game isn't super intuitive. There's a few things that are odd about the user interface, and there's a few things that need explaining. Things that I wish I had known from the rip when I got the game that just make life a little bit easier. So, without waiting around any longer, let's go ahead and jump into Ground Branch.
Dropped.
So we're going to start right here. It's the very beginning. It's a very good place to start. It's the main menu. We're going to check this out. So first thing you have here is training. If you click on training, it's going to ask you if you want to deploy. I'm going to turn the volume down a little bit. It's going to ask you if you want to deploy to Camp Period Training Facility. If you hit yes. So once you load in here, this is going to be the training facility. There's several places you can go here. For example, when you spawn in right behind you, there's a indoor like training ground, and you can actually go to this screen here and set how many bots you would like, enemy and friendly. By friendly bots, it's just gonna, I'll tell you what, we'll go ahead and start one. So the countdown will go. If you hit this switch right here, that'll actually cut the lights off so you can run around with your night vision as well. So you can go ahead and break in. I'm just gonna show you guys what the enemies look like. So that's an enemy right there, black mask, you can shoot them. And that's friendly right there with the hands up and the white background. So that's what that is. And there's several other places you can go here. For example, inside of this building C, this is the indoor shooting range where you can go through here and you can actually stand here and shoot the targets there. And pretty much every building here, there is a gunsmithing station, so you can edit your loadout, change what you want. So if you go over to this table here, and just press F to customize your operator, you can actually see helmets and other things like that. We'll talk more in depth about this later on, but just kind of showing you guys the training ground for now. Also want to jump in here real quick to say, if you want to just skip through to a part that you're concerned about or that you want to know more about, there is going to be timestamps in this video. I'm going to have those down in the description. Go to the part you're concerned about. I'd prefer you come here, get the information you need, and dip, versus having to sit through the whole video. So do what you need to do. Down here on the left, you're going to have a large airplane. This is actually a small map you can do. It's another like CQB training area. Let me talk about this while we're here. You can actually change the time of day that you're at the range from mid-afternoon, pre-dawn. You can even do custom and pick a very specific time and date. So pretty cool there. I just want to throw that out before we run up here. There's another smithing table, so you can do what you want as far as edits. And if you run up here, there's another screen like before that lets you change how many enemies, and then you move through the plane and you get going, right? And the last part to see at the training ground is the outdoor shooting range right here. So here we have another smithing table. We have another place so we can change the time, etc. We've got some moving targets here. Another smithing table. You got some moving targets here that stop once you hit them twice. You got some more targets right there. And the cool ones are these down here. And the reason being, if you shoot that one right there, it'll actually tell you if you got a hit or not. And that comes in handy when you have targets like way further out and you're really trying to get precise. So yeah, pretty neat little area. All right, so we're gonna go back to the menu. So we're gonna press escape, hit the top right X, and do return to main menu and tell it yes. All right, so the next tab down is called Lone Wolf. This is if you don't want to play with friends at the moment, you kind of just want to run a gun by yourself. So if you hit that, it'll pull you to this screen. And here you can choose, there's two types of Lone Wolf missions, and that's intel retrieval and terrorist hunt. Also, if you're playing against AI, these are your only options, is intel retrieval and terrorist hunt. Everything else is PvP. I'm more of a PvE player myself, so just keep that in mind. Next down here, we have mission settings. So this is going to be your insertion time. So, and it does go by military time. So if you do 1300, that's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. You can pick a day. This one just does a random day, or you can pick a preset like late morning, midday, etc. We're going to do late morning. Weather, this is a thing that's kind of iffy. It worked for a while and then it stopped working. So at the moment, it's not working. Right here, we have enemy experience. play with what you like. Me and my buddy, we usually play on experience at this point because we've played the game enough that we kind of understand how the AI works. It's a little metagamey, so you got to keep increasing it to keep yourself challenged, right? So you go and pick what you want. You can change your expected enemy resistance from freaking 1 to 50. On some maps, there's a notification right there. It'll say that playing with more than 30 is not recommended because it can affect your game performance. For me, I run a 3080 Ryzen 7, and it never really bugs out on me. I think I've done that once with a teammate, like a ton of people, and he's got a decent rig as well. I haven't seen the effect, but if you're running on a lower end system, you may see that. And you can also change the time limit here from 3 minutes up to 120 minutes. If you get advanced, you'll have AI hotspots, which means that's a place in terrorist hunt where the enemies are like congregated heavily, and you can do the show remaining threats. So once you fight enough people and get down to 10, it will put up a notification on your screen saying, hey, you got 10 left, and then it'll start to notify you of everyone below that. So if you're running 50 and you set it to 50, it will tell you every single enemy like you have left. Like if you kill 5 people, it'll say, hey, you got 45 left. So we're gonna bring this down to, I don't know, let's bring it down to 15. We're not going cray right now. On the right side, this is the cool part. These are the maps. So if you see the 747 map has a plus sign, if you press this one, it's going to give you 2 more options. If you just keep it on this one, that's going to give you the entire map. AI will be spread out across the entire map. If you do plane and nearby, that's going to be a subsection of that map where it's the plane and nearby. And then plane interior, self-explanatory, it's the inside of the plane. Arena and Arena 2, I don't really mess with. These are like kind of more of a training aspect. We have Compound, that's like the Bin Laden map. We have Creek. I've actually got a video of my tactical unit S.T.A.C running through that mission. I'm gonna put that in a card up in that direction if you want to hit that, or come back to it after you figure out how to play this crazy game. Depot, docks, power station, oil rig, which is bananas. I would not recommend that if this is your first time playing the map. Rundown, small town, which is like a training ground, storage facility, and tanker. If this is your first time playing Ground Branch and you just want a map that's, you know, kind of simple and just lets you kind of get a feel for the game, then I would recommend either small town or 747, the full thing. Small town gives you a good example of fighting in a little bit of woods and a little bit of urban, while 747 gets you used to long range if you play the full map. Those are the maps I would recommend if you're brand spanking new to the game, just to kind of get a feel for it, or go to the training ground like we talked about a second ago. We didn't talk about intel retrieval before we move on. So the 2 modes here, if you see intel retrieval, you'll see that this is all the same. Your enemy experience, we're just gonna go train for demonstration purposes. You can change all that stuff, but if you do show advanced, it'll display search locations. We'll break that down in a second, but it pretty much just highlights a place where the intel could be. Extract as a team, you can turn that off. Proximity alert, your game will actually like vibrate when you get near the intel. Search time is the amount of time it takes you to actually type on the keyboard to secure the intel. Well, that being said, let's go terrorist hunt, and we're gonna go small town and hit play. So this is our first time dropping into the ready room, which is what this area is. You can see just a few little boards with your players' information, you and your friends. And we're going to move out to here. This is the area you're going to spend most of your time as far as getting ready for missions and things like that. So let's go ahead first to these lockers. You'll see one of the lockers has your player name on it, but you don't have to go to that locker. You can actually go to any of them, but we're going to go to ours just since we can. This is the user interface for customizing everything about your character. So this little area is going to take a minute. So first off, in the top left, we have your player identity, which you can change. I can just make it Del. I just do DLib, short for deliberation room. You can add a call sign. You can either use the standard, which is A1, or you can make it whatever you would like it to be. And that call sign is going to pop up on the shoulder of your player. You can change your character's appearance between any of these, whatever you prefer. And you can choose to have a beard or not. I typically do because I have a beard. All right, sorry for the change of wardrobe. I had to take a break and now I'm back to recording. Anyway, we just left off here. So patches. Right here, you can add customized patches for the different sleeves, for the helmet, and for the chest plate and right and left side of the head. And you can see here, if you just go to all, there are several to choose from. Just ignore that one. Funny video coming out later. So you can do blood type, country, and you can do custom patches that you see right here, where I have the ones that I have uploaded. Once again, ignore that one. But this is the stack team that I run, so I do keep that patch typically on, or deliberation room, whichever one I'm feeling. You can do that as well. I'm gonna have a whole separate video on how to do custom patches and how to upload those into your ground branch files. So stay tuned for that. Go ahead and subscribe if you'd like. That way you can be notified of when that comes. And from there, we're gonna X out of that. We're gonna go up here into the main kit area, right? So if you click on the rifle itself, let me get back in. If you click on the rifle itself, you'll see a list of all the weapons. Now you're not going to have the orange if you're just starting out. You're just going to have, it's going to look like this. You're not going to have this little icon here which shows your customized builds. You're just going to have the weapon. So we're gonna go in here to one that I haven't made a setup for. We're gonna do the M4A1 block. So if we click on that, it's gonna pull it up to here, and we can click on the little gear in the bottom right. And that's gonna bring us up into the weapon customizer. So we can go ahead and pull these off. If you need to pull off an attachment, just click on it and drag it away and let go. And that will remove the attachment. So now we have the bare bones weapon here, right? So what we're gonna do, just first things first, we're just gonna throw a laser on there. So you click on lights and lasers, and that opens up this menu. And this game, aside from other games, that's pretty common, is you can run a laser and a light at the same time. So freaking amazing. Other games, take note. That's big deal. So anyway, what you do is you click it from the menu and just drag it over, and you can put it anywhere you want on this rail, right? So we're gonna put it, I don't know, let's just throw it up there. That works. We're gonna take our light and we can throw it on. There's different types of lights. There's the TAC light 300C, there's this one, and there's that one. And that's just a visible laser if you wanna run that, but you can't run that and a PEC, because I don't know why you would run this, because the PEC 15, you can run a IR laser and a visible laser. We're gonna go ahead and throw two lights on, or a light and a laser on there. We're gonna go ahead and do that. We're gonna back that up as far as we can. So we're gonna go ahead and minimize that menu, and we're gonna open rails and mounts. And once again, you get some freedom. We have rail covers that you can throw on. And again, you can throw those wherever you want. We'll put it there. You can throw on offset rails, which puts it at like a 45. You can put on extenders, which will raise it above this area so you don't see it in your field of view with your reticle, right? We'll throw a rail over here. We also have risers. Risers pretty much do the same thing as this riser. They just look a little less tactical, if you will. As you can see there, it just puts that riser on. And it shows the heights here, so that's 100 by 25. And this is a mod. This one's a mod. I didn't know this was still on there. If you want to know how to get mods, let me know, because then I can put this one here, which is actually invisible to the eye in the game, which lets me throw my laser up here and throw an optic up here. Pretty cool, right? Yeah, so check out the modded video stuff if you want to see how all that's done, but we won't bother with that today. Let's see. So then we're going to jump down to sights, and they have a plethora of sights, and some sites have an option to put stuff on them. I'm gonna let you guys figure that out for yourselves, but like, for example, if I put that on here, you can see I've got these two rails up here that I can actually put an optic on top of that. Now, once we get this set up, we can go back up to here and put on the, well, we'd have to move this whole thing down a little bit. This is looking silly, I know, but I'm just showing you how customizable everything is. So now I can put this up here, and I can have my canted here, and then I can go back to my sights and I can throw on a canted right there, right? So there's so much customization. Play around with it, find what you like. We're gonna minimize that. We can open underbarrel. We can throw on, we'll throw that on, why not? Bunch of different underbarrels. For the muzzle, you can throw on FDE or black suppressor, up to you. And then for a magazine, you've got typical 30 rounds, you've got extended, and just drag it over to the spot, right? That's simple, right? And then what you can do is you can do save as new, and you can name it whatever you want. I've just kind of been going with the whatever it names it, but we'll do demo. I want to just save it. So now you'll see when you open this up that you have that rifle labeled demo, and now you can just click that as a option. Secondary weapon, it works the same way. I'm not going to break that down too, but it works the same way. You pick your weapon, you go to the gear, you customize it, X, Y, Z, right? So we're going to do that. Let's get back in there. Also, the headgear, you just click on the helmet, you pick your headgear. We'll just pick, what have I not got something for? I think I've kind of run through all of the helmets. We'll just run like a basic helmet. Go to the gear, So this is what you're going to start out with, is just the base helmet. You go to attachments, you throw on your night vision, you throw on your headset, and you're just looking for the little dot, right? You just put it on the dot and drop it. And that's how you set that up. Now for the vest, there are a couple things to keep in mind with the plate carrier, right? So this is the stock plate carrier JPC. Now if I go into settings and I go to ammunition, if you select primary ammo, this will be, you'll see that's the covered flap. And the reason it does that is now if you run a rifle that runs 5.56 or 7.62, you will always have that ammo. However, if I go down to, where's it at? If I go to 30 round PMAG and I put it here, and if I put it here and I put it here, if I run into now in a game with a 7.62 weapon, I will not be able to reload it because all I've got are these. So it's more aesthetically pleasing, in my opinion, but you have to make sure your kit is matching what your rifle is, if that makes sense. So just keep that in mind. And it's the same with secondary ammo. As you can see up here, secondary. So that's your secondary ammo. But if you come down here and actually pick your secondary ammo, it can screw you up. I've had it happen where I load in thinking that I'm good, and then I'm like, ah, crap, I can't reload. Grenades, you can go down a grenade, and you can, once again, you're just looking for the white dots, right? You're looking for the white dot, you throw it there. You can also pull these off and put, I think the only thing you can carry up there are frags. Yeah, the only thing you can carry on your chest are frags. So, but around here you can carry everything, right? If we minimize that, open up equipment. This on my back is a breaching charge for, you know, blowing doors open. But you can also run binoculars or a rangefinder. That's up to you. So I typically run a breaching charge on my back just to have it because nothing else really is going back there. So I always run a breaching charge back there. I don't usually carry binoculars, but that's because my teammate that I know always carries binoculars is going to have them. So I just let him carry them. But anyway, that's typically what I do for my vest. So let's X out of that. Your belt, same kind of deal, right? You want to set up your primary or secondary or specific. If you want to do it that way, you can throw grenades on, you can take grenades off, do whatever you want to do. And then everything over here on outfit, it's totally your decision. The only thing to keep in mind as far as the aesthetics of your outfit is in the top right corner here. You'll see the color. You can actually select the color of whatever you're running, right? So now let's say I want to make this easy to get to, right? You can actually save this combination of rifle and pistol. If you go to save load, save current kit, and you can name it demo rifle pistol. We'll name it that, right? So now you can see we have that set up. So if we make a second one, so now I've got an AKM and a pistol. I can save it, demo 2. Right, so now when I go up here, I can click on that and I can see demo rifle, demo 2, okay? It just makes it way easier. You can save that for weapons, for your gear, and your outfit to make very easily accessible options, right? Okay, so that's gonna be it for this screen. I know that's a lot, but it gets easier once you figure out the ins and outs of how everything works. So we're gonna go back to demo rifle pistol, save. And we're good. So I know that's a lot. We're good with customization. Let's go over here. If you move through here, it moves you over to a range. And once again, like with every range in the game, there's a customization station. If you need to, come over here, open up your weapon, do whatever changes you need to do. And then right here behind you, you can pull your rifle out and you can actually play around with it, see how everything feels. That's actually not bad. I'm surprised. I thought that was going to be rough just because we were slapping stuff on there, but that's not bad. But yeah, this is a little test area. Lets you try everything out, see how it feels in the hand. And if you need to make a change, come over here and make a change. Through here is a night vision area. Now, I've got a little bit of an issue with the night vision area. I think it's too dark, seeing as how there's no illuminator. You pretty much have to turn your flashlight on in order to see in here. So I'm not a huge fan of this setup. Night vision does not look like this in game because there's, you know, at least some ambient light, which night vision needs some ambient light to function. That's why a lot of guys have illuminators, but there's no real illuminator in this game. It's just the flashlight, right? So yeah, so this is the night vision range if you want to come in here and check it out. And that's pretty much it for getting ready for a mission, right? Getting your kit together, getting your gear together. And after you're good, once your whole team's good, you're going to step into the operations room, right? Or the ready room. And this is where you can see the map of the area you're about to come into. Now this one's set up like a training field, like a, you know, a mock town. So that's why the buildings are labeled. It just makes it easy for training purposes, right? So you can see we've got this red square here. Because we're playing terrorist hunt, that's the hot zone we were talking about earlier, the hot spot. So a lot of enemies are going to be congregated right here. All right, and then over here to the left, you're going to see the mission parameters. If you open that up, you can change, you know, experience level of your enemies. You can change your time limit, remaining threats, AI hotspot. You can disable that, change the time of day, weather again, disabled. And you can see now we do not have the hotspot. So now we don't know where that congregation is. So we're going to go ahead and drop into a mission. I'm going to show you guys a few things of the end game and we'll break that down. All right, so we're actually in game now. So a few things to show you in the game. There's a few ways you can hold your rifle. So the one is this one right here. This is your standard. It's just, you know, pretty much low ready, rifles up, ready to go. And you can also do high stock, which just, you know, brings your muzzle up, and you can go full down, right? Unless you have a much wider field of view. And the way you do that is scrolling your mouse wheel up, back to middle, or down, okay? I'm not gonna go through, this is how you aim, this is how you shoot. I'm not gonna go that in-depth into the game. So that moves us into some of our next points. So you have like your regular walking speed. They're pushing us so hard. Regular walking speed, this is no input from, you know, shift or anything like that. Regular walking speed, right? If you press shift, it moves you a little bit faster. That also applies for backwards. You can move backwards just as fast, or, you know, faster. But if you do left control, you'll actually, bless it, you'll actually put your stock up and run. So that's kind of nice to see in a game, is actually being able to run. It's surprising how many tactical games have like just like a bit of a brisk jog, you know? So it's kind of nice that this game has like a true running motion, right? That just looks crisp. It looks like I'm actually running. It feels like I'm running. As far as switching your optic from this one to this one, that's when you aim down sight, roll your mouse wheel up or down. Again, we don't want to do that when we're here because that's going to do that. But once we aim down sight, roll up or down, that's going to switch our optic back and forth, right? This optic here is a zoom. So I need to zoom it in. I'm going to do, for me, left alt and scroll in. It may be different for you by default. I don't recall what the default is. If you want to know my full settings, again, I've got a video on my settings for Ground Branch and what I run as far as my controls and graphics and all that stuff. So do check that out. I'll have it linked down below. But for me, it's left alt and scroll forward or back, and that zooms us. So in this game, you also do not have to worry about reporting enemies. There is no reporting. There's also no ROE, really. You can just crack heads and crack skulls all day long if you want to, which is kind of a nice break. Which for me is kind of a nice break from Ready or Not, which is very ROE heavy, right? Ready or Not is very, you're a cop, you have to be accountable for every round you send down range. It's very, very hard on that, right? Stand by. All right, so right there up in the top left, you see that 9 enemies remaining? That's because we set that limit to be 10 before, if you recall. All right, cool, building clear. So again, we set that before to be 10, so now every time we get a kill after 10, I am blind. After we get a kill after 10, it's going to tell us, hey, you've got XYZ left. So also in Ground Branch, you need to keep in mind that there are 2 types of reloads. One is a deliberate, it's called a tactical reload, which means you retain the magazine from your weapon because there are rounds in it that you want to use later. You simply want a fresh mag in case you have more contact. You're going to use this reload when you have a calm chance to reload. But if you run that baby dry, we're going to do what's called a combat reload, which means you drop the magazine because you don't need it anymore. It's garbage and you're putting in a fresh mag. I've only fired 3 rounds out of this magazine. So one thing you can also do is check your magazine. So if we hold R, we're going to pull that magazine out and it's going to give us a rough approximate of how many rounds are in there, right? That's where you see that little hazy magazine pop up, right? So if we tap once, we retain that magazine. We did not drop it. Now let's go ahead and, all right, so now you can see we're dry, you know, And if we check our magazine, press R, it's fully depleted, it's flashing red. So we're gonna double tap R. You see our guy actually slings it out of the rifle, so we're getting rid of it, and you can actually see it here. Now, if you ever accidentally combat reload and dump a good mag, you can walk over to it, press F, and pick it up off the ground and retain it for later. So another thing you can do, this is kind of odd, if you ever run dry completely, like your rifle is completely out of the fight, you can walk up to the enemy guns, pick them up, and use them if you needed to, right? It's an option. And you can go back to your primary, and now that rifle is gone, and you still have your secondary as well. But you can pick up enemy guns if you need them, if the worst happens and you do run completely dry. All right, to show you guys this, I know we've got a guy in this building somewhere. So let's say we want to throw a grenade in this building. We're going to press 3. We have a hotbar up top. So 1 is going to put our weapon up. 2 brings up our pistol. 3 is going to bring up a menu, which runs us through our frag, our smoke, and our flashbang. We rotate through that by continuing to press 3. So we want our frag, right? We're gonna press left click on that weapon. We're gonna aim. The way you aim in this game, for me, I've found, is just kind of cover whatever you want with your hand. And that tends to get a pretty decent throw. Kaboom. Hopefully I got that guy in there. Let's say we want to breach a door. Let's find a good door to breach. All right, so right here we actually did take out a guy in there. I just saw the notification. Sick. So I want to breach this door, right? So instead of pressing 3, I'm gonna press 4 and then left click on our breaching charge. We're gonna walk up and put it on, and it's gonna go ahead and automatically equip that trigger, but sometimes it doesn't, or something will happen and you'll pull up your primary. So if you end up needing to get to your trigger, just go ahead and press 4 and go to detonator, and it'll be back in your hand, and then just left click to set it off like you're shooting. And boom. You can move through and do what you gotta do, right? So also when we press 4, you probably notice that there is a tablet, which you can go 4 down to tablet, left click to pull it up, or you can just get back to my primary here. You can just press M, which pulls up your tablet. And this is going to give you a map of the area, and also your icon and your teammates showing your direction. It also gives you your primary objectives, what team you're on, and the time remaining for the mission, which we got another hour and 45 minutes if we need it. I think we got like 2 more guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, I have a lot more Ground Branch content that you can check out in any of the playlists and videos popping up around you. And there's also a little button over there with my face on it. That's the subscribe button. If you enjoy this kind of content, we would love to have you stick around the channel. But until next time, guys, please stay safe, please stay happy. Peace out.